The Gerblin's been swinging a hot bat of late, 7 for his last 15. Here's the 2-1. Deep to left. That ball is gone. The crowd loves it. I've never heard this much generic Goblin noise.
Hey gang! Using the promo code MTGMudsta, all caps, will get you 10% off any order over $10 at Flipside Gaming. It'll also get you 10% off any orders of singles at Multizone. And it'll get you 10% off most products at Original Magic Art, with the exceptions of some paintings. If these fine sites don't have what you're looking for, you can also consider using my affiliate link when ordering from TCG Player. And if you'd like to join the Generic Goblin Gang to support this channel, there's a link to my Patreon in the description below. Hey gang, and welcome back. If you've been subscribed to my channel for over a year, you know what time it is, and that's right, in December, I post 3 EDH games as opposed to the normal 2. I do this to celebrate Christmas, but if you don't celebrate, that's cool, just enjoy an extra game. Today's games was one of the ones that I filmed through a webcam, and unfortunately I did it before I decided to start keeping hands, so I don't have this for you. What I can tell you is that I'm playing my Gavi deck, Harry is playing Estrid, Martin is playing Cedrus, and Trevor is playing his Marin deck. I win the die roll and start us off. I play a tapped Lonely Sandbar. Trevor plays a tapped Golgari Guildgate, passing to Martin. Martin plays a mountain, passing. Harry plays a forest and passes. I play a tapped Glacial Fortress, passing. Trevor plays a forest as well, casting Farseek. He goes into his library to find a tapped Overgrown Tomb, passing. Martin plays an island and casts an Izzet Signet. Harry also plays an island, and he casts Fertile Ground on his tapped island, enchanting the land with the aura before passing turn. I unfortunately am missing my land drop, and I cast Talisman of Conviction and have to pass. Trevor plays a tapped Cryptobagademe. Martin plays Desolate Lighthouse and activates his Signet to cast a Dimir Signet. Martin then activates his new Signet, making 2 mana to cast a Talisman of Dominance before passing turn. Harry plays Forge of Heroes, and then taps 4 mana to cast Market Festival, enchanting his forest with the aura, and passing turn. I draw, and play an island. I lose 1 as I tap my Talisman for 1 red, and cast Surly Badgersaur, and then pass to Trevor. At the end of turn, Martin basic land cycles his Ancient Excavation, going to find a basic for his hand. Trevor plays a Woodland Cemetery, and then taps all of his mana for Sidisi Undead Vizier. She comes in, exploits herself, and this lets Trevor go and find a card as she goes to the graveyard. He then passes while searching to save some time. Martin's turn is quite quick, as he plays a Swamp and then taps all of his mana but the Talisman for a Mirror March. Harry plays a Reliquary Tower for his land drop, and then taps the Forest, making 2 white from the aura and a green, and uses the white from it to help cast Mesa Enchantress. He then taps his island, making more mana, and uses that to cast a Satyr Enchanter. I play Battlefield Forge, losing another life, to cast Gavi in my main phase, and I pass to Trevor. Trevor untaps and draws, and then he plays an untapped Castle Garenbrig. He casts Sakura Tribe Elder, and enchants it with Journey to Eternity. He sacrifices the Elder, which lets him go and find a basic. With the ability on the stack, I decide to cycle Decree of Justice for free, but don't put anything into the X from the triggered ability. I simply draw a card. The Sakura Tribe Elder is then returned, Atzel hits the field, and Trevor goes to find a basic, passing to Martin. Martin draws for turn, and in his main phase, taps 6 for Gyruda. He has 2 triggers, one from the March and one from Gyruda, and Martin layers them to resolve the March first. He fails on the flip, or in this case the roll, but we still mill ourselves for 4 from Gyruda. Martin gets to bring back an even costing creature from those cards, and he decides to bring back his copy of Vizier of Many Faces, who enters as a copy of Gyruda. This starts the whole cycle again, with Martin resolving the legendary rule and keeping the original copy of Gyruda first, and then moving to resolve the Mirror March trigger first. He rolls correctly 5 times in a row, and we then have to mill ourselves for 4, 5 times. With the first set of cards having Martin return Harry's Destiny Spinner. The second mill has Martin taking his own copy of Thassa. The third set has Martin hitting no legal targets. The fourth time has Martin getting Trevor's Woodfall Primus, and with the Primus coming in, he targets Harry's Forest with Market Festival. It gets destroyed, and we then move to the fifth and final trigger. Sadly, Martin doesn't have any valid triggers for this, and he then realizes he should have flipped or rolled for the spinner and the Primus, and does so, failing on both, so it makes no difference. We then move to Martin's end step, and Thassa triggers, letting Martin blink Garuda once more. He layers his triggers again, rolling for the march, but fails, milling us only for 4. Of the targets he hits, Martin decides to take his own copy of Razaketh, and he then rolls again for the march, but fails to get an extra copy of Razaketh. Harry draws, and plays a forest to replace the one that was destroyed. He casts Starfield of Nyx, drawing 2 cards, one from each of his enchanter effects, and passes to me. I play a Plains and cast Sun Titan, who comes in and brings back a 3-drop or less. I return to Field of Plains from my graveyard, and then cast Path to Exile, targeting Razaketh. Martin responds to the removal by sacrificing the Destiny Spinner to Razaketh, losing 2 life, and going to tutor for a card. He finds it and puts it to hand, and then lets the path resolve, and goes to grab a basic. I then cycle Sweltering Sun, gaining a cat token from Gavi and drawing a card. I do have a trigger with a Surly Bajazor, but don't want to fight anything, and just pass to Trevor. Trevor draws and thinks about how he can utilize his now massive graveyard, and at the same time, hopefully stop Martin from going off again on his turn. He plays a Volrath Stronghold as his land drop, and counts up how many black creatures he has in his graveyard. He then activates the Crypt, making 7 black mana, and then activates Atzel to reanimate the Ravenous Chupacabra. It enters, and Trevor has the ETB trigger target the Woodfall Primus. It gets destroyed, and Martin and Trevor unintentionally synchronize swapping the Primus as it comes back to Trevor's side of the board with a -1/-1 counter because it persists. With the Primus entering, he gets to destroy a non-creature permanent, and he blows up Mirror March. Trevor then finishes up with the floating mana by casting a Dictate of Erebos, and passes to Martin. Martin untaps and draws, casting Darkside Extortionist in his main phase. He gains 4 treasures as it enters, and then casts a Deadeye Navigator. None of us can sadly disrupt his infinite mana combo with the Deadeye and Dockside, and Martin uses some of his treasures to cast his commander, Cedrus. Martin then uses Cedrus' ability to give all of his creatures Unearth, to unearth a Runescar Demon, and as it enters, he tutors for a card. He finds and casts Underworld Breach, and then uses Escape to recast the Mirror March, exiling more stuff from his graveyard to help cast it. He then does the same for the Panharmonicon, and then exiles even more cards to recast his Vizier of Many Faces with Escape. He has it come in as a copy of the Runescar Demon, and gets to roll for the Mirror March triggers. He gets 5 copies after successfully calling it 5 times, which with the Panharmonicon means 10 tutors, which pretty much means we're dead. Harry also points out that Martin should have even more March triggers because of the Panharmonicon being out, but Martin's pretty sure he won't be needing them. He goes to his library to find his cards, and eventually casts Kakusho, which we're all pretty sure is going to kill us because of the Mirror March triggers and the Deadeye Navigator. Essentially, if he doesn't get a clone version of it from the Mirror March, he's able to keep flickering it with the Deadeye and get as many as he needs and basically drain out the table. Game review time. So I don't think that Martin's deck was particularly any stronger than any of the decks at the table, with the exception probably being my Gavi, which is a little bit lower powered. I do think he was really able to highlight the power of Mirror March, and just showed off how good it can be when luck falls in your favor. Typically getting 1 Runescar Demon for 7 mana and 1 card to hand is a very good deal, but being able to do that up to 5 or 10 times for only doing it once is incredible. I was also hoping that Garuda would have milled us out by looping into clone after clone after clone and getting more Mirror March triggers until we all lost. I think that would have been hilarious, but unfortunately Martin wasn't able to get there. Other than that, I think this is probably the most lands I've ever had in a recorded Gavi game, and I do feel a little bit bad that Harry and Trevor weren't really involved in the game except for the last few turns. It seemed like all Estrid was able to do was enchant some of her lands and draw some cards from enchantresses, whereas Marin only brought back 1 or 2 creatures. I will say though, in the case of Marin, we typically know what's going to happen with some kind of combo, so I guess we didn't miss out on much. Please be sure to tune in every Monday and Thursday at 11 AM Eastern Standard Time for a guaranteed new video. You can also follow me on Twitter at MTGMudsta. You can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/mtgmudsta. And lastly, you can check me out when I stream at twitch.tv/mtgmudsta. This video is brought to you in support by my patrons. If you're looking for a way to help out the channel, please be sure to visit the link below. Thank you all for watching this video, and don't forget, friends are just opponents you haven't eliminated yet.